It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. Season 1 is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, helping you grow and revolutionize your landscaping business. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in.
Perfect.
There you go. We are now recording. With me today. Very excited to share the podcast episode today with Ash, or Ashley Rowe. She's from the New Leaf Company. And we actually met totally randomly because I saw that you were on Instagram. And I'm like, wait, this girl is in London, Ontario. We're neighbors.
Yep.
And we're both business women. Like, I need to call her up. And we met for coffee. And we've actually been working together now. So I've hired you for a couple of services. I now I did the social bloom package that you had. Yes. And I'm looking at revamping my website. So really happy to have you on the show, Ash.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So the New Leaf Collective, let's hop right in here. What an awesome name for a company. So can you introduce your company, yourself, and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so for everybody listening, my name's Ashley Rowe, and I'm the proud founder of a digital marketing company called the New Leaf Collective. So the idea behind the New Leaf Collective, it really started with my love of plants and gardening, hence the New Leaf. So a lot of the work that we do relies really heavily back into like plant terminology, gardening. Like if you could see our studio space right now, it's just covered in plants. So plants was something that just really helped me in a lot of aspects of my life. And I went to school for marketing. And decided to take the leap into my own company. So originally, the first company name was called newleafco.ca, and now it's transitioned to the New Leaf Collective. And we just opened up a photography studio kind of in the Western Fair District. So that's where I'm recording live from today. We have a little bit of a Christmas setup kind of behind me here. And on top of the kind of marketing and social media for small businesses, now we also have this photography studio that will hopefully empower more people, give them the recognition they deserve and just have their moment where they can really feel proud about, all of the hard work that they've put in to get to that point. So that's kind of where the studio came to be, and a little bit about my company.
That's so awesome. And I mean, the new studio, this is pretty new. Like,
yes,
how I saw the picture where you like snipped the ribbon.
Yes, yeah.
And so like how recently is it again?
20 days. I guess 29 because 29th today.
It is.
Yeah, we moved in on November 1st. So it's been about a month now. The company's been around for quite a few years now, but the studio space is new as of this month, and it's been incredible. It's like having a home base again. I call it my like mega desk from the office. Like I have like just one large desk that my staff will kind of work off of as well. Yeah. But that was my when I dreamed about what I wanted from a studio, the only thing that I could think of was mega desk. I was almost gonna buy like a kitchen table for the office. Not needed. But it was just one of those things where like when you picture like what your dream space is, I'm like, I want to have something just like a little weird. And my little weird was just a gigantic desk, but it still came to be. It's just not a kitchen table. It's like actual desk and things like that.
Nice. A grown-up desk. Yeah.
Exactly. A grown-up desk, but just super large.
That's awesome. And so speaking of, so today we are recording on the 29th, even though your podcast episode is this week's podcast episode.
Oh, so, no way. Oh my God.
So I'll be producing this like today or tomorrow, but I do release a new podcast every Wednesday, but your slot is actually this week. So this is like as close to
this is as
recording
live as
and
we
producing.
Can get it.
This is as live as we can comfortably get it.
Yes.
For those who are watching and not listening, you can probably see my beautiful Christmas gnome onesie pajamas. Amazing. And if you're not watching, then you are missing out. That's Absolutely. All I have to say about that. And you have a beautiful wreath thing behind you.
A beautiful wreath behind us.
We're getting to Christmas. It is November 26th, and it is your birthday.
Yes, it is. It's my birthday today. Today
Oh
on the dot.
my gosh. So 26th of November. And how old are you, Ashley?
I'm turning 25. Well, I turned.
20.
I'm 25 today.
Oh my gosh. And one of the things that just blew me away when I discovered you through the London Inc. magazine because you were announced as
Yes.
one of London's top 20 under 20, I guess like
Yes.
5 years ago now.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
So how exciting is that? How do you get into that? Did you have to nominate yourself or were you nominated or how did
yeah.
that happen?
So with the award, so that's actually kind of a funny story of where I brought up the original naming of the company. So when the award came to me, so I was nominated through, I have no idea. The process they don't really say. You kind of just get an email and you freak out and
Yeah.
that's that. So I would have to believe though is probably like a college professor or something like that. Someone within the community nominated me. And essentially what the process is writing like a bit about the business, why you think that you should get the award and whatnot. But when I had won the award, I actually won the award when I was 22.
Cheater.
Uh yeah, well, it's 20 to 30, anywhere in there. Like
Oh,
anywhere
that's
between 20
funny.
to 30. Yes, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So like there's time within that. And so when when I was making the application, the business was honestly just getting started. So I was writing the application almost as like a this is what my dream company is, and this is what I'm setting out to do, and whatnot. And then I found out a few weeks after that I had won. But what winning included was the magazine publication. So you'd seen that. But it also included like a few other media things. And because the company was so new, I realized that the name was going to be in magazines and publishing. So I needed to get all of my things together and make sure I had like all of
Yeah.
the paperwork I needed and whatnot. So the New Leaf Co, like the .ca part, was because we had the naming rights to the website. So we just bought the same name as the website.
Right.
And then later on, we figured out how to actually get the name that we wanted from the beginning. But it was one of those moments where, like, you're like, oh my God. And then you're like, oh my
Oh my
God. Like,
God.
I have this and this and this. But that award not only kicked the business into high gear in terms of like making sure I had everything established, but it was the first like big recognition that I think that I ever got from the business. It was the first time that people sort of knew who I was, what I was doing, and that publication I think really started the buzz around the company, I would say.
Yeah.
And then it's, continued to grow from there and whatnot. But that I think was one of the earliest moments where I realized like, oh, this is something that's possible. This is something that I'm doing. And it was the first recognition of like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing by trying this at least.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so cool. And I'm just so excited for you. Like how cool is all that? And then
Yeah, yeah.
also like I feel like I connected to you so quickly. Your social media presence is amazing. And
Thank you.
as
So
somebody who's, a landscape design firm, now I do podcasting, I do the keynote
yes,
speaking, and it's kind of a mix of everything, but it all comes back to plants. And I was
absolutely.
like, you're as a marketing firm and you're the New Leaf Collective. I was like, oh
Yeah,
man, we're already friends. Like this person likes
exactly.
plants enough to
Yeah.
name her plants or her company off after a plant. So, and I love that you use garden terminology because for me, it's like, okay, I got you. I'm with you, and I
It's
don't get
like it's our
lost.
language. We can speak it, we know it. I think it was always too like a great way to connect with people because if people didn't know what it meant yet, they're still hearing about leaf, they're still seeing the plants. So it's always that like that easy
Yeah,
bridge of like, hey, I love this too, you love this too. And then when you find out what people offer, it's a great way to be able to collaborate. And because you start off with that fundamental of like, hey, I love plants, you love plants, let's make this work.
perfect.
And then yeah, so it's been a great connector, and it's just such a huge part of my life too. So it's great that the company can embody this like part of me that in theory would maybe not make as much sense in terms of like gardening and marketing being on two separate, but that I
Right.
realize there's so that actually connected it.
It's
Um,
something I say so many times that people who are in gardening kind of see and recognize patterns in places that I find other people
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's so many things that overlap. And I mean, the
Yeah,
terminology is one thing and the science and all that. But, when we talk about new leaf or tending to a garden or looking after a plant
yeah.
or getting your hands in the soil, which I'm going to talk about because you put that on your pre-interview
Yes.
questionnaire. So we're going to dig into that one for sure. So before we get into too much more, I want to know what you're drinking.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so today, because later today I'm getting a tattoo.
Whoop, whoop,
So,
for your birthday,
um,
birthday tattoo.
yes, exactly, birthday tattoo. So I'm having an Xponent today. I went to a networking event last night and found out they are London, Ontario based. They're out of like downtown is where they manufacture, I believe. Could
Okay.
be wrong, but it's Xponent and it's a nice little energy drink. It's like no sugar, naturally sourced caffeine. But I just love them. I think they're so great. I like having them as often as I can, but they're a part of the Black Fly company, I
Yep.
believe. That's also in London. Like I had no idea that
Right.
these like big manufacturers, or at least bigger that I know of, are all based out of London. So that's why I like drinking this one because I can see where it's made, like in downtown London, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
We have a lot of really cool stuff here in London, like people
I
making
know, right?
stuff,
Like
and
so
it's a really cool
many
place to be.
breweries, so many different companies like this. And I think the event yesterday was such a huge reminder of um how many like bigger names that I was remember like seeing at this event and then being like, oh, they started here in London. Like
Right.
it's really crazy to see that. And it's so amazing too.
And
And
which
what do you
networking
have?
events was that one?
Oh, I think
Was that the
it
Women in
was like the
Landscaping?
it was the RBC. It was at RBC Place, an open house,
Oh,
like a
okay.
open house kind of thing.
I wonder if that's the
But
Chamber of Commerce.
yes, yeah, I think something like that. But all of the vendors give like free samples and whatnot. So it was really cool to be able to. Yeah, it was great. I call it my like Christmas party because I'm a small business. I don't have a
Yeah,
Christmas party, but it felt like a Christmas party.
I love free stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It
got
was a good.
home last night. I just spent a week in the St. Martin Island, and I
Yes, yeah,
got
yeah.
back last night at midnight. And so
Oh
that's
my
why
God.
we're recording this episode this week, because normally I would have done it earlier to post it. But
Yeah.
yes, so I am having
Yeah, what
one
do you?
of Refined Fools
Oh,
beers. So Refined Fool, they are out of Sarnia. Oh, you
okay,
went
right
blurry
on.
there. So we're trying to figure out how to use this camera. It keeps focusing on my background because I have so much crap behind me.
Fair.
It thinks that my background is more interesting than I am.
Oh
I mean,
no.
even in these pajamas, I'm wearing
Yeah,
ridiculous
it's
Christmas
not
gnome
enough.
pajamas, but I have so many books and I haven't even unpacked yet, so all of my stuff is on my the day bed behind me. So this one is called Roy Boy Hazy or Hazy Roy Hazy Boy.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah. And yeah, it's hazy and it is, what does it say? Pillowy, soft, juicy, and oh so hazy. You'll be thinking about Roy long after your last sip. I wish
I'll
people
take
would,
it.
refer to me like that. You'll be
Yeah.
thinking about Heather long after you see her.
Yeah, that sounds like that's a nice description, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good thing to aim for.
Yes.
So, Ashley, cheers to you.
Yes,
Cheers.
cheers. Birthday cheers. Right on.
I know, happy birthday. If I was really good at singing, I would sing to you, but I think I would lose a lot of listeners if I did that,
That's fair.
right? Just know your strength. Know your
Yeah.
strength. So, another thing that you and I really connected on early on is the whole starting your own business because it was around the
Yes,
same
yeah, yeah.
time, right? I think you
I think so,
were
yeah, both of us
you were
at the same
also
time.
let go during COVID, right? Or it was shortly
Yes, yeah.
after? Yeah, it was, and same as me.
Yeah, right during the heart of COVID, let go from my the job that I had, started just working at a local coffee shop, and a friend of mine, because like with coffee shops, you kind of have weird hours of all over the place. So
Yeah.
I was able to help a friend move into an apartment in Toronto, and she had done freelance marketing, which is basically this idea of, taking on clients on the side and like using the skills that you have and building a business from it. And I remember moving in, like helping her move in, and she was just telling me about this, about how she started it, and these were the skills that she had. And I remember being like, holy crap, like, this is
This
something
is
that
for
I
me.
could do. Um, and that night, like, I'm kind of one of those people that when I get excited about something, it's like that way or the highway. So, like,
Uh-huh.
we all went out for dinner that night, and I remember I was writing down the name of the now company, the New Leaf Collective, but
Yeah.
it started with like new leaf, new, like there, like that phone
So
note would
many,
have been
yeah.
crazy. But um that night is when I kind of settled on this idea of New Leaf. I think like 2 days later, I bought like the naming rights to the website and just started kind of building it out while I was working at the coffee shop. And then basically, as it started just with two clients, one person through LinkedIn, another person who was a friend of mine from a few years back that just wanted to give me a chance. That's it. That's like there was two people that believed in me from the very beginning. And then what I realized was is that if I brought on one more client, I could like maybe afford to live. And even then we'd be a bit, cutting it close. But
Yeah.
at that point, the mentality was even if this all fails, I could go and try and find another coffee shop, work again, build up this idea again, and try again. And I think that that's still kind of the same mentality that I have. And obviously, that hasn't happened. A lot has grown in the past 2 years, but I always went into it with, if this all goes wrong, I'll start up at a coffee shop again, find the next idea, and then keep going because I love
Yeah.
that entrepreneurial side. Um, but we got that third client and then the fourth, and then I was able to bring somebody on, and then we had more time. So then we had the fifth and that, and I was able to leave the coffee shop and pursue this full time. And now, 2 years later, I'm sitting here talking to you in my studio on my 25th birthday, which is pretty crazy. And we have 6 girls that work on the team now, so it's grown. It's absolutely crazy. But again, all of it started with a moment of getting let go where I felt very knocked down and very like, there's no way I'm going to recover from this. How could you possibly recover from this?
Yeah.
But it worked out. And that's a bit about how the company started. And it's just waking up every day, and even when it's hard, just kicking and trying and putting the 2 feet down every day. Because it's better this way than working for somebody else and not knowing what's going on. So
Yeah. And being
that's
blindsided or just kind of, oh,
yeah,
I guess I'm not
absolutely.
needed.
It was
Weird.
yeah, it was a
Thought I
complete
was.
blind side. So yeah, that's kind of the journey from there to now.
Amazing. And how it's so crazy to me, when you think about it, how much can change with one moment. Like we
Oh,
both
absolutely.
have that one moment where we both know that moment,
Yeah.
right? For each of
That
us.
Yeah.
And in the moment, in that moment, you're just trying to not pass out. You're trying not
Yeah.
to throw up. You're
Hmm.
trying not to, spiral downwards.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's not until later that it's like, you know what? I got through that. And because of that one moment, I'm where I am now. Like
Yeah.
of course, there's a whole bunch of moments that got you to that moment, right?
Mhm.
But there's this
Yeah.
one moment where it's like, okay, there is a fork in the road.
Yeah.
And by all means, there's some time needed to go under the blankets and not have feet on the ground and recover and
Yeah.
heal.
Yeah.
But then there's a fork after that where it's like, okay, I can either stay here or I
Hmm.
can really grab life by the horns and let's give her,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
right? And the things that have come from it. So I think I can speak for both of us that I don't think
I
either
know,
of
I
us
was gonna say
will
for both.
ever be an employee ever again.
Yeah. I hope not.
Right? It's just no, been there, did that, got the t-shirt.
Yep.
We've drinking the entrepreneurial Kool-Aid, and I think we're good. Yep.
And now we're here.
And now we're here doing this crazy thing.
Absolutely.
So with the I wanted to ask you about favorite plants because I always like asking everybody about favorite plants.
Absolutely.
And so your logo is actually based off of the Queen of Marble, pothos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that like your favorite plant, or do you have
Oh,
like a collection of
absolutely.
pothos, or
Yeah. I Queen of Marble is my favorite pothos. But all pothos plants are welcome in this house.
okay.
But the Queen of Marble specifically was one that just like the leaf pattern, I think always stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the original design of the logo, but just one of the ones that I feel like I always gravitated more towards, and also like the name Queen, like I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But that would I would have to say be my favorite, and then flower wise would probably be like the little forget-me-not flowers. Like
Very
they're
nice.
yeah, very small. But I love those too. So those would be like my top two plants.
Nice.
What about you though? What would you say would be your top plants?
I'm a bit of a begonia hoarder
Okay, right
myself.
on.
Yeah, so and actually I brought this big monstrosity. I don't know, for anybody who's actually watching the video and can see. So this is called an escargot begonia,
Oh my God.
and all the leaves
Oh,
look like a snail. It's got like a
oh my God.
perfect,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, so it's a
Wow.
perfect spiral or the golden ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one has been with me for a number of years. I bought this as a small, like 4-inch quart thing at our local greenhouse, and
No way.
every winter I bring it inside, and every summer I
Yeah.
put it out, and now it's like a 3-gallon escargot
Yeah.
begonia, and she's like, oh, she's just so beautiful. Just love it.
Absolutely. Growing,
Yeah.
growing.
So, and I've got it. It's funny because I was looking in my collection for pothos, but I have a lot. I'm a philodendron girl. I thought I
Okay.
had pothos, but I don't. Um, I guess I mix those things up.
Hey, fair enough.
Still learning, still learning.
Yeah.
So as I kind of mentioned earlier, talking about, I mentioned that we were going to talk later about getting your hands in the dirt. Because one of
Yeah.
my, the pre-interview questions is I always ask what your favorite tool is. And you are
Yeah.
actually the first guest on the show that said, is it weird to say my own hands? Because I love
Yeah.
the feeling of my hands in the soil when I'm gardening.
Yeah.
And you hit a nerve there with me when like that is you are speaking
Hey,
my
oh, great.
language.
Good, good,
And
good.
like there is something about it, and I know there's science behind it, and I keep meaning to actually,
Like
maybe I'm
figure out
actually
what
going to
that is.
find out. Well, I know there's science behind it, and I know that
Yeah.
there's reports, and there's all of these things that happen, but I sound like
Yeah.
an idiot when I try and talk about it because I get really excited, and then my brain goes
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Yeah,
But
the technical term, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, the technical term. I love it.
Yeah,
I don't know, there's just something about it that like, obviously like the all the little tools are great and they're helpful, but just something about like being in there and kind of like, I don't know, digging with your hands. I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Something about that is just so nice, and like even like repotting plants and things like that, 'cause
Hmm.
that's pretty easy to do with your hands too. Um both of those were I don't know, they're just so fun. It's something about it. It feels like I'm getting right in there.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite way to garden, I would say, like hands down.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know that there's two different aspects. I mean, two different aspects that come to mind right now. But one
Yep.
is the science of the soil and all the microbes in the soil, and it can actually boost your energy and it boosts your
Oh, no
mood.
way.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
right on.
scientifically, this is the thing that I always sound like an idiot when I try and talk about. I need to find a
No.
guest who knows about this. So if you're out
Yes.
there listening to this and
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say, please call me so I can have a better conversation.
Yeah.
But it's there's things that gets released and things that get in your hands that actually boost mood and energy. And
Oh,
then on the
wow.
other side of that, there's a mental health aspect and a garden therapy aspect that when we create or do something and we're productive with our hands
Yeah.
and we feel productive by doing manual work.
Yeah.
And this typing has doesn't do it, right? We need
Yeah,
to
it doesn't do
paint, we need
it.
to create, we need to sculpt, we need to mold. And when you're doing plants and planting and weeding, you get that same
That
positive
that same
feedback.
kind of feeling. Yeah, there's like My partner always says that, if we have time to relax, it'll be like an hour where I'll say, okay, I need a nap. And then probably like 20 minutes into that nap, I'm like, okay, so what are we doing now? And like it's the same thing with the plants where what you really spoke to me was like it's just a different feeling from like typing to like actually doing and molding the soil and things like that. And I think that's like something that I've I've always like loved, but like I'll go and sit down and relax and I'll be like, okay, so we're playing a game. Are we going
I need
out?
to
Are
do
we
something.
so that's I can definitely relate to that, and maybe that gardening aspect goes further into my life
Oh
than I
yeah.
but it also sounds like, from my opinion, even if we don't have the scientific word, you know the things. You know what you're t like when you were like asking for another guest to talk about the benefits of the soil, you know it. Like I believed it. I like the way that you were talking about the mental health benefits and the hand like that benefits. We might not have the scientific word, but I feel like you
Right?
know it.
It's like I
Yeah,
know
you
that
have
there's a
it.
thing,
Yeah.
but there's this
You know the
really great
thing.
book. I talked about it actually in a previous episode with Jeremy Camp over at Nicholas Garden Art. But there's
Oh,
this
right
book
on.
called Who Not How. And it's like, I
Oh, yeah.
know there are who's out there who know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. I don't need to remember how to explain it
Yeah.
because the who is out there.
Yeah, the
I just
who
need
is
to
out
find
there.
the
That's
who.
the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very, very cool.
Mhm.
Um, what else was I going to ask you? Da, 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 da. Let me just scroll through here. Yeah, so something and kind of touched base on it a little bit, but talking about managing your own growth, expectations, and taking care of mental health, right? Mental
Absolutely.
health is so important, right from, I mean, both of us, our moments kind of happened around the same time during COVID. And there was
Mhm.
this pivot that happened where everyone shifted and realized that number one, life is short, right? That there are no guarantees, whether that's for a job, a career, or another day on this planet. There's kind of
Mhm.
there's this whole shift, right? And
Absolutely.
then we also, I think there was this huge movement that um, many people decided to prioritize their mental health, their
Yeah.
time, their time with family, their work-life balance. And doing the clock in, clock out, 9 to 5 for minimum wage without any benefits
Mhm.
wasn't going to cut it anymore,
So,
right? And I think it is so cool that you've managed to create a space, a workspace where you are 25 years old. You have
mhm.
6 staff, you said,
Yes, six staff members.
and like you have created a space where people can express themselves when they have got a safe place to be and work, where you have a team and they are a part of a team. And how cool is that to be on the one end where you're the employee that's let go because you're no longer needed, to
Yeah,
now you are now that person who employs 6 people and
exactly.
can help them
It's
move along and build that team. That's just so cool.
Yeah, it's been I think a lot of what I learned very early on in my career was almost a reminder to myself of ways that maybe I would want to be different as a boss. We'll say that. But the things that I learned early on in my career, I take those very heavily into reminding what it felt like when I was an employee, what it felt like when I messed up at work. And I think like a lot of times I would take that weight with me, like beyond work, and just like, things
Hmm.
happen. You call in sick, you make a mistake. And I think a big part of what I try and do with my current staff now is making sure that they know it's okay to tell me when they're having a hard day. They know it's okay to be like, hey, I screwed up on this, you know, how can I fix it? That's great. Like those are the spaces that I want to cultivate for my staff.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of them working for me is the mutual understanding that I hope that this job is actually a stepping stone for them. Like I want them to go further than this. I'm very
Hmm.
grateful for that I have them here and that they get to help out these small business clients. But my goal is more so, what do you need from this job?
Right.
What do you need to learn? What roles do you need to fill so that you can take this for your career, so that you can take this for school applications, things like that.
Yeah.
And that's been great. And
Hmm.
the girls who have started the company with me have, continued to grow with me, and it's been really great to see that growth sort of come to fruition. But it's definitely very interesting to sit back and think about all that's happened within those 2 years of starting the company, all that's happened within this past 25 years. And I think my next biggest thing that I've been thinking a lot about was I'm like, wow, like so much has happened in the past 2 years, but I'm like, I still got like probably 45 more years of working. I'm
Right?
like, and that's if I'm lucky too. So I'm just like, I was kind of a moment this morning where I was like, wow, like what do we do for the next 45 years? Like obviously continue to grow
Yeah.
and you, but that was another moment where I was like, oh wow. Like we still
So
got
much
a lot.
possibility.
Yeah, and so because of that, I started going back to school actually, like very like part-time online, as to get my personal trainer certificate.
Nice.
Just to, like have another extra thing to be able to, like broaden my knowledge and but also, extra career opportunities. It's great to have another certification under my belt. I
Yeah.
love running. I love the benefits that it has on my mental health. It's a huge like collaboration.
Right.
So that's like a another thing that when I realized I'm like, wow, we're gonna be doing this for a while. I thought about this schooling opportunity as a way to continue to learn more skills so that in the future this job can look a little bit different under the same
Right.
umbrella of collective.
Well, and how many times too does either personal trainer or I've also I have a personal interest in life coaching,
Oh, right
right?
on. Yeah.
And so even if that training that you get and that education that you get as a personal trainer, there are going to be some transferable things that you can be using with clients to help them just in their life,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
right?
no, absolutely.
And that happens a lot for me. I sit down with somebody because they've hired a landscape designer, and it turns out that they just need somebody to listen,
Yeah,
right? And so many people, I think, are just kind of have their blinders on. It's like, this is my service, this is what I do. But there are other interests that you have. There's other education and knowledge that you have that can really
can
make you
help.
unique in what you
Yeah,
do. So there,
exactly.
something you said too about how you're using your business as a stepping stone for people.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people, maybe I might be speaking out of turn here, but a lot of people in the landscaping trade and profession, I think can take a little bit of a cue from that because there
Mhm.
is at least an Ontario-wide kind of shortage of qualified labor, right? And that's a
Oh.
whole other podcast episode that we won't need to get into. But it's hard to get
Mhm.
people and get them to stay. Or I should say, a lot of companies struggle with that.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it's another thing that I really admire about you,
Mhm.
or I connect with you on, is because my long-term goal is to be kind of that first stop for co-op students. Like
Yes, yeah,
my first two co-ops changed my life. And
yeah,
if I can
absolutely.
be that for future co-op students, that is exactly what I want to do. I don't want people to stay with me for 9 years. I
Yeah.
actually want fresh blood in. I want to
Mhm.
train them. I want to teach them as much as I can. I want to learn from them as much as I can. And then I want them to
Absolutely.
send them on their way.
Yes, exactly.
And
Go
that's,
explore bigger and other things and give them that opportunity because I feel like, especially sometimes in marketing, I remember when I was applying for jobs, it was like, entry level base salary. And then it would say 10 plus years of marketing experience
yep.
and 20 years. And I remember specifically, like, very early on reading a job posting of like 25 years of social media experience. And I'm like, I don't even know if Facebook's been around for 25 years. Like, what? How is this like a credential? Obviously, like, more dramatized example, but like to be a stepping stone is great. And to have that mentality to help people to teach them what they know or what you know and then go
Hmm.
further is wonderful, and it's worked really well for the past 2 years. So I can definitely say from personal experience, it's been a lot of fun to be able to help people in that kind of early stage of career. But yeah, I very, very vividly remember looking at these job postings and being like, how do you want 10 years of experience for your like the most base level
Yeah.
thing. And I'm like, how am I going to get in there? How will I even have an entry
Yeah.
level if I can't work for, 10 years? I don't know. It was confusing, but
And
hey,
it
it all
still
works out.
is. It still
Yeah.
is. So,
And it's still
so we have about 4 minutes left, and I've got two questions left for you. So
already.
the one I'd like to ask you is, I'm curious if there is a book, or I mean, it could be anything, a magazine, TV show. I know that you were personally um, shown in a magazine, right, as the one of the top 20 under 20. But is there a book that comes to mind either for business or marketing or just life in general, fiction or nonfiction, that you would like to do a little shout out and recommendation for?
Well, okay, this is gonna sound very funny because I was cleaning out my purse frantically to try and message you that I was ready to film this podcast. But when I was cleaning out my purse frantically, I have this book here that I always keep in my purse.
Yep.
And it's called Persuasion by Arlene Dickinson. The other book that she has, I really like a lot. It's just about I'm blanking on the name, but it's about
All
sort of
in.
being yeah, all in. There we
Yep, I
go.
have it on my shelf right there.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, exactly. So all in, and this book too, really stuck out to me because it was a way to learn about entrepreneurship from a woman's lens and not like a textbook definition of what an entrepreneur is. It was, her book really sheds a light on what it's like to have work-life balance and when work takes over, like her personal stories about that.
Right.
And then persuasion is just a lot about like getting to the negotiation table and her experience of like being a woman, even if you don't want to be, sometimes you're two steps behind because of the way that you look. So persuasion, I
Yeah.
found a really great book of like how do you get past that? How do you make sure that you're not shying away from your potential in the negotiation room? So
Right.
that
We'll
is
check that one
I
out
always
for
keep
sure.
this in my purse.
I
So,
often think like, oh, that we have this term female entrepreneur, but nobody ever says male entrepreneur.
exactly. No.
Like, that's a whole other podcast episode.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very last question before we get cut off. We got about a minute and 30 seconds left. I'm just
Preach.
wondering, as a young entrepreneur yourself, so you started business in your 20s, do you have a piece of advice for someone regardless of their age? What would be your piece of advice for somebody considering starting their own business?
Yeah, I think my favorite piece of advice when it would come from starting your own business would probably be to, listen to family and listen to friends, but make your own choice when it comes to starting a business. I think a lot of times when you start with a crazy idea, there's a lot of maybe feedback of why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? But then when it works, they're like, oh, why didn't you start this sooner or something like that? So like I think my biggest piece of advice to that would be always listen because friends and family they care and that's the important part.
Yep.
But make sure that within your business, make those choices, make those leaps. Have a fallback plan as always. I wouldn't give you that advice.
Awesome. I am going to
But
cut you off though, because we are going to get cut off. Ashley, it's
okay.
been absolutely amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers. That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.